This is the Monday, June 13th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. And the first we have is executive session. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we go into executive session in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to deliberate upon matters which, if done in an open meeting, could have a detrimental effect on the position of the town regarding strategy with respect to litigation, to come out of executive session and reconvene in open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, by roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr. Berthew. Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Brotherton.
Yes.
Mrs. Goodrich.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body relative to litigation, that the board will reconvene in open session following the executive session. Okay. This is the Monday, June 13th, 2016 meeting of the Auburn Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being recorded. Is there anybody in the audience recording this meeting also? Being none, can we stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have some visitors in the audience tonight. I'd like to...
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move up agenda item 7A followed by 7B.
Okay, motion been made to move up items 7A and 7B. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, so the first one we'll take is Juniper Farms Ice Cream Company, and there is a representative here. Would you like to come up and join us? Now, this is an application we have here in front of us, and we've also received the certificate of liability insurance. Is there any questions, concerns, comments? Okay, Ms. Goodrich?
I have questions.
Yes, please.
So it's Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to dusk. Will you have a set route?
It's likely that the driver will establish a set route. I mean, we haven't actually done Auburn in many years, if at all. So, he will establish it. From day to day, it could be slightly different, depending upon if he has to go do events or things like that. But in general, it'll be somewhat of a set route.
Does anybody got anything else? Yeah, Mr. Berthew.
Just thinking, is the truck always going to be mobile, or are they going to look for like the 4th of July event and be a vendor at the 4th of July event, and then let's say there's a softball tournament, do they then go sit in the parking lot and work that entire softball tournament, and will that compete against anything else that Auburn has going on?
Okay.
Through the chair, if I can jump in on that too. We do have vendors that come to the 4th of July event, but they do have to be licensed in order to participate. So if this vendor gets licensed, the vendor would be eligible to apply for a permit to participate in our Independence Day event, but you do have to receive a permit to participate. And through the chair, I believe we've passed the deadline for doing so, but we said that we would make some exceptions if we had permanent vendors who were from the area that were interested in participating. We're still looking for vendors, so we would extend that date.
Right. Are there any other questions? Mrs. Goodrich.
So to follow up on Mr. Berthium's comments, because I'm looking at this as a mobile ice cream truck that's going to travel the streets of Auburn. I would prefer to set conditions like that, and if it's going to park in a permanent place like we do with a hot dog truck or something else, I think that they would need to come back to us to ensure that they're, have a legal right to be there, and they're not interfering with someone else's business. But to me, this is the application says mobile ice cream vendor, so that indicates
And
being mobile.
you've met with our DCG?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things they have put on, the applicant must receive a municipal permit from the police department and obtain the necessary permits for inspections from the Board of Health.
Yes.
Has that been taken care of?
No, not yet. My driver's going to see the police department tomorrow. He's already been licensed through, he has his state peddler's license, and he also has his license through Southborough, which is the town that he resides in. I can give you copies of these things. And so yes, those will take place, and then once all of those are in place, then we'll meet with the Board of Health and set up a time that works for them, that we'll have the truck come through and do a formal inspection.
Terrific. And from what I'm seeing right here, right now, and from the paperwork we have in front of us, it's an application for a transient vendor license for a mobile ice cream truck, so it will not be a stationary truck. Any other questions?
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
Our Director of Public Health is here, Darlene Coyle, and I don't know if you might have any questions of her as well, but
Okay.
she's familiar with the permitting process, so I just wanted to bring that to the board's
Has
attention.
anybody got anything?
I'd like to follow up on whether, the Board of Health, there's a chair here, Darlene, if you want. So does, when the Board of Health looks at something like this, do you ask them to submit you a general route so you have an idea of where they're traveling? I know years ago, having a coffee truck, we had to submit a route so the Board of Health knew where we were. If they're in a stationary place, what's the Board of Health position on this, and do you have any conditions that you would suggest we put on?
Sure. So good evening, everybody. The transient vendor license that's before you is one of the pieces that we need in order to license Juniper Farms. The municipal permit that Ms. Lorio is speaking about is also part of the process. So we have several things. We have a state hawkers and vendors license through the state. The town issues the transient vendor. We have a municipal permit from the recent regulations, and then when we look at this is a mobile operation. So they typically will go around to different neighborhoods in town. They'll find out where there's a need, and then they usually prepare a route that works for them. In the past, we haven't asked which exact streets they're going to be on because the process for what they're doing, they have to have permitted people, and they have to go through a process through the town that we ask. Mobile vending is just that, so it's mobile, it's moving throughout the town. We're not authorizing them to stop at any one place for anything more than the sale of what they're selling, and usually that maybe 10 minutes, is that fair to say?
Usually it depends, and again, it all depends on the town. There are many towns that will request that we come to their 4th of July event or whatnot, and or go to certain softball tournaments or things like that. We sort of go, depending upon what the town requests and what the town requires. So we can do it however you want to do it. If you'd rather us just drive around and do the neighborhoods, that's fine. If you want us to go buy softball games, of course we do take into consideration, and we do respect the fact that a lot of these places do have snack shacks, for lack of a better word. And obviously we don't want to interfere with those. And in some towns they do request us to come because they don't sell ice cream. Other times we'll specifically say, no, you can't go to park A, B, and C because they have, the softball league or whatever, the little league, they make money off of that, and we don't want you to interfere with that. And we respect that. We will do it, we'll pretty much do it however you want us to do it. So whatever guidelines you set forth, we'll just follow them.
Terrific.
We're ensuring, so the Board of Health is going to ensure that their food operation is safe and follows all the guidelines and the state regulations. The piece of that for the Auburn Police, they're going to make sure that the person that's operating in town, that's operating that truck, has gone through the appropriate checks and balances, making sure that the kids are safe, or anybody that's going to be interacting with the ice cream truck is safe. As far as conditions for certain areas of town, I open, if the Board of Selectmen is seeing that they would like to put some conditions on that and submit a route, we can certainly include that. That wasn't part of the DCG discussion. We haven't fielded any complaints regarding, that particular topic, but certainly if you feel that there's a need for that, we can certainly, open the discussion. I think what I'm hearing from Ms. Lorio is she's open to whatever the town needs are. Each town operates, obviously, a little bit differently, but the regulations that we're looking at are making sure that the state, the town, the municipal permits are in place so that the people who are operating these are doing it in a safe manner in accordance with the food code. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mrs.
I'll just follow up and say, in no way did I want to try to tell you where you have to drive the truck. I know that certainly there are neighborhoods with lots of kids, and that's where you want to be. I just was asking if the town preferred to have a general route, an idea of where the route was. And I'm sure it's beneficial to you if you set up some type of route where you're going to be in this neighborhood every Tuesday at 7, then the kids are all going to be there, so.
Right. I have no problem. We can do it however it works. And in other towns that we do, from year to year it might change because, this year there's everyone in the neighborhood's 10 and under. Well, in 10 years, that's not going to really, you know what I'm saying? So it's sort of, kind of goes, we go where we're wanted and where we're needed, like I said, I'm very happy to provide you with whatever, you need.
Great.
I think that might be something that maybe satisfies the board if you can kind of give us a general, route of where you are for times.
Mrs. Brother.
Just for the safety of our youngest residents, your truck is marked clearly.
Oh, yes.
It's like Juniper Farms, so that if we do get calls in, I can say that that truck is...
Yes, I tell all my drivers, a lot of them are college students, that you're driving a billboard, and anything that happens, they're calling me the second it, if you accidentally cut somebody off, trust me, they're already on the phone with me, so I very much warn them and, tell them I watch them on social media and I do keep an eye on them and to just, keep in mind, you are driving a billboard and people are, you're not driving around in your own car, so they're all very much aware of it. And, like she had said, the new laws do require all the drivers to be both Corey and Sorry checked, which quite honestly I think was a long time coming. I think it should have been done a long time ago. So, we're glad that happened. So everyone is safe and, up to code.
Great.
There's also, just in the past couple of years too, Denise, we've also included as part of our inspection to take pictures of the actual truck that we inspect so that if there's another truck in town and it doesn't match the one that we actually inspected, because they all are, they are all going to have bright pictures of candy and, cute, little characters on them. We make sure that what we're doing matches what the truck in town. So that's helpful.
Okay. Is there anything else? Being none, I'll entertain a motion. Mrs. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we approve the license provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all of the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions of the DCG be placed on the license.
Okay, the motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you
for coming in tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, the second one we have tonight is under 7B, and it's for NF Sheldon Entertainment license at Sheldon's Harley-Davidson, 914 Southwick Street in Auburn for June 23rd through the 26th. And we have representatives from Sheldon's. Would you come forward, please? team. Would you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what your plans are?
My name's Chris. I'm the marketing manager at Sheldon's Harley-Davidson. Through the 23rd through the 26th, we're going to be having a sale with a giant tent on our property. There may or may not be music outside, so we wanted to just pull an entertainment license just in case we happen to roll any kind of speakers outside. And that was basically about it.
Okay. Have you had a chance to meet with the DCG?
I don't believe so.
That's the Development Coordination Group for the town?
I think the Cretan Tent Company had done something on their own.
Okay.
About the tent and pulling the permits on the actual tent.
Okay. So there's nobody actually from Sheldon's Harley-Davidson has been, as a meeting of June, excuse me?
Through the chair, they did have a representative there. I believe it may have been.
I'm reading that here now. The member
Okay.
representative of Sheldon's Harley-Davidson to discuss future outdoor events. And that was a meeting on June 1st, so there has been, the applicant shall include with its annual license application a calendar of events that contains a site layout plan, proposed hours of operation, the expected number of patrons. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits and inspections from the town departments, boards, or commissions prior to the start of any scheduled event. And the applicant shall hire a police detail if overflow parking is made available on the opposite side of Southbridge Street. So there has been a representative from Sheldon's here to meet with our DCG. Is there any other questions?
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to follow up on that, and Darlene Coyle is here as well if there are any questions. Maybe if Darlene could come up just in case. There was a representative there. I believe it was Chad. I will double check. But at that time, the DCG did ask for a list of events, a calendar of events for the whole summer. Our thought was that we could help facilitate the events by having them come in one time for as many permits as they needed to have. It will give us a better idea of what the plans were, whether they needed entertainment or one-day liquor licenses. So we do not have that calendar of events at this point. So the only event that they're here for this evening is the one from the 23rd to the 26th. It's my understanding that they were potentially bringing a calendar with them this evening.
Yeah, we were going to. We wanted to. It's basically every other weekend from now till September is how our events are run. And it's basically the same exact things, just without the tent. So we didn't know. We're just going to end up having to pull entertainment permits. It was mostly, if anything was to be outside, it would be music or some type of outside entertainment like that. Nothing, there was no alcohol that we've talked about or any kind of things like that.
Okay, so Chris, you're going to have these, it sounds like, throughout the summer, every 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're basically sales. It's not like a crazy event. It's just we sometimes put music outside just to entertain people while they wait for to pick up new bikes or something.
All right. So the 23rd through the 26th, that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. After that, then we'll have to kind of coordinate some kind of a schedule because we're going to be discussing a summer schedule tonight for the Board of Selectmen, so that we want to be sure that if you can, before we get into that summer schedule, it may be that we may say we're going to meet the 2nd and 4th. Mondays, but if we go to that summer schedule, probably meet once a month, and at that time then you'd be waiting a month and you may be missing something. So if you can bring that back to your company and just let them know that, you know what, we may be talking about a summer schedule, so you want to get your calendar of events put together. We'll see if we can't work with you on that to get that all done so that your summer will be open and ready to go.
Okay. Sounds good.
And through the chair, if I may also ask to have Darlene just explain the food, because as you can see on the application, they will be cooking food, but I want to make sure that...
I was under the impression that it's for our own employees. It wasn't for any kind of patrons, but we have commercial grills, and it sounded like because if we rolled these out, whether it was for the employees or not, that we had to have them checked. I didn't know how that...
So I'm Darlene Coyle. from the Board of Health. So the understanding is for the memorandum that's before you, dated June 1st, is for the single event. So that event is taking place, as Julie said, June 23rd through June 26th, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Chad Clark is the owner. He had been before the DCG with this particular proposal. So at that time, DCG had discussed what requirements they wanted. It's our understanding that there was going to be some type of music at this event, and it was going to be music through speakers, not a band of any sort. But because there were going to be speakers outside, we wanted to make sure that they applied for the outdoor entertainment license. It's also our understanding that they would be grilling food on their own equipment, their own grills, which is allowable as long as they contacted our office with the proposed menu. So Sheldon's does have a food service license that we've issued to them, so they can do food service that covers them for food service within the building. Anytime they do operation and they bring it outside the building for something like their promotions or sales events, that's something that they need to, that they're going off their normal routine of maybe coffee or, you know, whatever they serve inside. You're going in, you're going to be serving hot dogs, hamburgers, chili, whatever it is. That's out of the building, so that's extenuating outside. So they have to contact us, we go through the requirements, and then they have authorization. So that food is authorized as long as they contact us and let us know what they're going to be serving. I know our assistant, my assistant Eileen, has spoken to them about what they need to do. Further, there's also the police department had talked to them about police details and as they're needed for the type of event, depending on the parking situation. Yeah. I know that in the past there's been patrons that have had to cross, obviously a very busy street, very dangerous. So the chief of police has given direct advisement to them on that. So I'm sure that
spoken with
Mr. Clark,
the chief, and Todd Lemon, who comes all the time. Okay.
So again, this memo before you is simply for this one event. It is our understanding as the town that they are going to be getting us a calendar of events, what they're proposing. It sounds like from Chris, they're planning on doing like sales events throughout the summertime into the fall. We do not have that calendar of events, excuse me. So when we receive that, we can provide more advisement, but again, this is just for this one event for the weekend of the 23rd.
Okay. Is there anything else? If not, Mr. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just I'm looking at the conditions, and it says the applicant shall hire a police detail if overflow parking is made available. I would recommend that we change that, and I haven't written it out yet. The applicant shall hire a police detail based on the suggestion of the police chief, because we don't know if they need, you know, if they'll require one, two. I would believe that he will recommend it, because although you can't control who parks across the street, you've had very successful events, and I've witnessed people back and forth, plus the traffic that turning into your place. It's just, it's very successful. They're very successful, so I do believe we need a police detail. So I want it to be based on the chief's recommendations.
Okay.
Not just, not shall.
Is that in the form of a motion?
All right, so I'll make the motion that we, where is my thing here? We approve the license provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all of the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, with the conditions of the DCG to be placed upon it, with the third bullet to read, the applicant shall hire a police detail based on the requirements of the chief.
Second.
Oh, okay.
The chief or his representative.
Okay. So that motion been made and seconded. Sharon, have you got that motion?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Have you got anything else?
That was it.
Okay. Being none? Yes, Mr. Berthew.
I'm just, if we say based on the recommendations of the police chief, are we basically giving Sheldon's the free green light to not worry about that now it becomes the police matter? I guess right now we had the impetus was on Sheldon's. The way it's written now, the impetus was on Sheldon's that if it appears traffic's getting bad, that they should really, so I don't know, it should be like a joint effort.
I think with what, I understand what you're trying to say, but I think with what we've heard on discussion tonight, that they have been in contact with the police department, and they know exactly what the requirements are and what needs to be done out there.
Okay.
And Mrs. Goodrich?
I'm happy to reword my motion. 'Cause
Okay.
I just really didn't have a minute to think about it. Thank you. The applicant shall hire a police detail of a certain number of hours and...
Well, I think we're starting to beginning to fine tune what...
But that's what I'm saying. We want to make sure that they're there, and that's what is that what you're concerned about? I just want to make sure there's a police detail.
Okay. Mr. Carpenter?
Why don't we just make the motion pretty bland and vanilla that you have to contact the police chief X number of days before, and based on his judgment or acting chief Hanlon's judgment, you're going to have a police detail. Harrigan.
Now, you want to amend that motion?
Sure, I'm just trying to come up with the right language.
Okay. I think as we had it earlier, it was based on the requirements of the police department.
Yeah.
I think that
Shall
would
hire
pretty much
police
cover-
detail.
And
I'll leave
based
my
on-
motion the way it
Based on the
was.
requirements of the police department. I understand what you're both saying over there, but I think that that will cover us with anything that comes up.
I didn't have a problem with the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, so the motion's been made and seconded, and Sharon, you do have that motion? Okay. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, and good luck with your event. And may I just remind you, again, we are going to be getting into our summer schedule, so if you have a calendar of events coming up, please bring it as soon as you can. We can work with you on that and see that your summer comes without any bumps in the road.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Can I make a request that you move up this item for items here?
Okay.
8A.
Okay. All right.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move up town manager item 8A.
Okay, motion, I'm sorry. Motion's been made to move up item 8A, the Mass DEP Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grant application.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jacobson?
Through the chair, thank you very much, members of the board, for moving this item up. We have Amy Sullivan and Darlene Coyle here this evening to talk about a couple of really exciting opportunities, and I think it best that both of them come up and explain it. They are separate grants. One we may or may not be eligible to move forward on, but the deadline is Wednesday, so we're here before you this evening seeking permission. So should we find out we're eligible, we didn't want to lose the opportunity, but if both of them could come up and join us, I could turn it over to them to explain it, because they're much more eloquent than explaining the grant than I am.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome.
So I'm Amy Sullivan. I volunteer as a recycling coordinator. I'm lucky if I get up to town hall 1 hour a month these days. I was the chairperson of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee for a long time. I actually work for DEP, so I know a little bit about the grants. I don't work for the grant program, but this particular grant round, this is for municipalities to improve recycling, composting, reuse, and to increase diversion of solid waste from disposal. So we're looking for approval to apply for 3 separate grant items. The first 2 we've applied for and received in recent years. The first one is the Targeted Small Scale Initiative. Based on our population, we'd be eligible for $1,250, which we would like to use to get some of the additional recycling carts for residents. That is a reimbursement type grant, so we would expend the funds and then have to submit for reimbursement for that $1,250. The second piece of the grant is called Recycling Dividends, and that is a grant that's awarded to municipalities that already have programs and policies in place to increase recycling and reduce solid waste. So based on what we have already in place, we should have 7 points, and that would make us eligible for $5,600. And that's a payment. That's something they would give to us, and then we spend it, and we just have to report on the spending of that. Part of that, the points based on our program, it includes the limit of 64 gallons of trash. That gives us 2 points. We get points for the leaf pickup because those are going to be composted. We get points for being accessible to the Leicester Recycling Center. So we refer residents to Leicester. That gives us points. So those 2 are pretty easy. We should be eligible for those 2 grants. If you have questions on those 2, we should probably do those now because those are kind of the easy ones, and we can talk about the third part if you would like.
Is there any questions or comments? Okay. While we're working on those 2, then what we'll do is we can take the 2 of those together, and if we make a motion on that, we'll move forward on that. So I'll entertain a motion on the targeted small scale investments and the recycling dividends program applications for grants.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that we authorize the application and authorization of the funds, expenditure of the funds for the targeted small-scale investments and the recycling dividends program.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. So now we move on.
Okay, the third section of the grant that we would like to apply for is funding for a part-time position for a waste reduction enforcement coordinator. Based on our population, we could get up to $25,000 over 2 years for this part-time temporary position, and the town is required to match 25% over the 2 years. That's $3,125 from the solid waste budget over per year for 2 years. So this would be a person dedicated to improving our trash and recycling program. They would provide education and outreach, provide additional resources for hard to dispose of items, establish a baseline of our participation, and conduct an audit per the requirements of our hauling contract. We have a requirement for an audit. Ensure that residents are recycling properly and to reduce the contamination of the recycling stream. Ensure that customers are not exceeding the trash limits, respond to questions, work with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee to keep disposal costs and fees down, and report to the state back on the grant. So the goal, of course, is to improve the program in a positive way. The catch is that we do have to, before we're awarded the grant, we would have to have a mandatory recycling bylaw ordinance or regulation in place. And the bylaw, regulation, or ordinance would have to have a finding structure, which, of course, we don't intend to use, but it's part of the grant application. We would, of course, approach it in a positive way, and Darlene and I would work with the person to make sure it's done in a positive way.
Well, I guess my question is, have we got that bylaw in place, or is there a bylaw that we have in place that will cover for that particular request?
So we do not have that bylaw in place. Amy and I have discussed this portion of it, and through other towns that have basically gone for this grant, it's something that would require the regulation or bylaw to be in place. Now, it's our understanding that this may be done through a regulation, which is what we're exploring. And so Julie had alluded to the fact that we don't know if all the pieces are there for us to be eligible for that portion of it, but we didn't want to miss the opportunity to at least apply for it. We have gone through and with DEP, and we're trying to determine if that could be done as a regulation, you know, perhaps through the Board of Health, or if it would have to go through the town meeting bylaw protocol. Now, we do have the town does have rules and regulations in place for solid waste that were put in place years ago. I think it was 2010 when the last contract. So when that contract went in place, the Solid Waste Advisory had come up with rules and regulations, basically kind of an operation of what to do and what not to do. So recycling essentially is already in places. Everybody has to recycle who lives in town. So under the solid waste regulations, but what we don't have in there is we don't have any finding structure there. So we're looking for the opportunity for this position basically to we're at where other towns are for the type of system that we have. So we have a collection system with the 2 carts. We have a limit on how much trash you can put out. We have recycling. We have overflow recycling containers. So we're doing everything right. This just gives us a chance to improve upon that. And so if there's a way that we can reduce what we bring to the wheelabrator and get charged for, if there's a way that we can increase what we're putting in the recycling bins, if there's a way to increase people's knowledge about what to do with hard to dispose of items, those are all things that are going to help us. Kind of a good example is the recent hazardous waste day that we had. We do that every 2 years. Because of cost. It's usually a pretty expensive event, but I can't tell you the number of people that anticipate that day, and you know, the phone's ringing off the hook, oh, can I bring this? And we take so much at that day, it kind of gives everybody the impetus to say, oh, wait a minute, I think I can get rid of that. Let me call the health department. So they'll call either Amy or I, or field those calls, and then we give them the outlets. But that's call by call as people, you know, individually reach out to us. This will give us the chance to give education out and help us improve getting the message out of where people can, what people can put in the recycling bin, and what they can also do to get rid of items that are always difficult. You know, when you're cleaning out a house, or you've sold the house, or you're cleaning out the basement. So we're looking at this position as kind of an opportunity to kind of step forward. Instead of being reactive, we want to be proactive. I think Amy said it really well, kind of when we were talking about it with the town manager and the CFO. We're doing a good job. We just want to improve upon that, you know, and so we really feel committed to that this is the next step to try to help us. We want to use it as an education. It's really about education. We're not looking to pull out a ticket book and start ticketing people. That's not what this is about. We want to try to improve what we're doing so that you don't have to write tickets, you know. So please.
Mrs. Goodrich.
I see this as a part-time position. Is this also a non-benefited position?
Yes, through the chair. This would be probably 10, 11 hours a week, no benefits.
Thank you.
My question is, now we have a match of $6,250. It's required. Where will those funds come out of, and can we absorb that?
Sure. Is it okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we have met with the CFO. We met with Ed recently, and we feel that the match that is required for the municipality can be broken down over the next 2 fiscal years. So we're looking at a little over $3,100 per year, and that would come out of the solid waste budget. Ed did identify that we could do that, and that would be something that we could again take it out of the solid waste budget. This is a temporary position. It kind of gives us a chance to see how this would work. If this position, obviously we're going to monitor it after the first year and into the second year. If this doesn't help us, it doesn't continue. But again, it's a chance to give us the opportunity to see what we can do.
Okay. Is there any further questions? Mr. Carpenter?
So Darlene, this would just be for the length of this grant. You're not looking to add this as a permanent position?
At this time, we're only looking to apply for this. Obviously, we want to see what can be realized from this grant. I don't think, I don't want to speak for Amy, but I think that if we were to have savings on the solid waste end and we could continue in that fashion, it didn't cost the town anything. We're talking, 10 hours a week. If it's something that we could do going forward, we don't want to rule that out, but at this time, we're really looking for, just what the grant allows.
One step at a time. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a follow-up. What kind of education are we talking about? You're not talking about going into somebody's trash bin and saying, no, you can't throw this out, I'm hoping. What kind of education are we talking about? For 10, 11 hours a week, it should be something fairly substantial, not just a sheet that says, this is where you go, type of thing.
Some towns have put tags on the bins if they see things in either trash or recycling that don't belong. They'll tag the bin and say, they call it an oops tag, like, well, just so you know, this is actually trash. It doesn't go on your recycle bin. If you have questions, call so-and-so and leave the number, and that kind of a program. And I think, further down the road, there would be a letter sent that would be something this person would, send another stage in the game, a formal letter saying, we've noticed again that you are not recycling properly. Please note this can't go, whatever it may be.
Is that something that could be done like initially and just send a letter out to everybody and saying this is what we can trash and this is what we can recycle? And maybe just to start the ball rolling and say, because sometimes I'll look at it and say, which one does it go into? Whether, and it might be a good baseline to start off and say, this is your trash and this is your recycles. And just explain the basics of what you're looking for. And that may be a good place to start with the education.
That's a great idea. It is something that I think we kind of talked about with Ed, also of maybe doing like something that we can put on cable access or a PSA to basically just education again about what goes in the bins. Amy and I have both tried to put something in each of the Auburn accounts, the quarterly newsletters to try to just, again, we try visual things. I think in the last one I had a great picture that Amy had found of basically the bin and then what you can put in it, pictorials. We've also tried to increase awareness about composting because we got a grant that Amy was able to identify through DEP for composting bins. Anything, any heaviness, any weight that comes out of the trash helps us when it goes to Wheelabrator and it gets weighed. So we're trying to, textile clothing. I know the clothing bins have been a problem and we have to deal with those separately. But really, when clothes are not, if you get holes in shirts or socks or something like that, we don't want them to go into the trash bin. We want them to go into textile recycling. So it's more so of trying to do education on an ongoing basis. I think to Mr. Carpenter's question too, we have, as part of our contract, Amy and I had talked about the contract in ways that we could improve what we're doing in kind of how many customers we have on the municipal contract and what people are putting out. So if we were to have this person, this position, we could utilize this person to actually ride the routes. So we have 5 days of routes. So that person could ride the routes, and just by driving, you could see, oh geez, there's a trash bin, but there's no recycling bin. Okay, so I know I need to stop there and educate them. Are they not putting a recycling bin out because the lid is gone or the wheel is broken? So then that becomes a piece that we can help them on that. I myself, I was driving for an inspection. I pulled over. Somebody had fluorescent bulbs sticking out of the trash bin. Stopped, take the bulbs out, do some education. So you'd be surprised just by driving around how many opportunities there are for education. So that person becomes really important on getting the message out for what people need help with. So we've recognized that over the past couple of years of working together and seeing what other towns are doing, and we feel like, again, we are doing a good job. We're not behind, we're not overly ahead. We're at the baseline, but if there's a way that we can improve upon it, let's try it.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Carpenter.
Just one last. Any communities around here apply and successfully implement this program?
I spoke with a woman from Amesbury, which is not that close, but it's about the same population. They've got about 16,000, and spoke with her. She sent us some flyers that they used and some different ideas, trash and recycling rejection notice. We've noticed that this happened, and their enforcement plan and how it worked for them. They did see they called it a set-out rate, so setting out the recycle bins curbside. Their rate of curbside set-out went from 66% to 92%. So they definitely saw some success with hiring this position.
Yeah, and just a general comment. My concern is I don't want the residents being harassed. And I know that this is coming from a good place, but I mean, to me, I don't see the necessity for it. So I won't support it, but I appreciate you've done a lot of work, and I've commented on that previously, but I just think that this is something that we have other needs in town that aren't being fulfilled that I'd like to see money go towards, and I think that people are doing the best that they can, so I certainly don't want to add to the stress of putting out 2 buckets at the end of the day, during the week. But I appreciate everything you guys do. I know you guys do a fantastic job, but I just don't feel that it's a position that I want to support creating. But thank you very much.
Can I comment, just to keep in mind that it really does go back to the taxpayer, because the less we have in disposal, we keep the cost down and we keep the fee of the program down. So this person would work with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. to keep the disposal costs down.
I understand the intent. My concern is how the resident is going to feel. I think a lot of people already feel that government is far too interested in what they're doing. So I think this is one area that we can leave them alone and not invade their privacy. But I appreciate you guys. I know you guys do a great job, so.
Okay, well, now, just on an aside to that, this is a application for a grant, so it's not really going to be affecting, and I think we could do a cost savings greatly. I mean, just from what I'm hearing right now through other communities, they've done that and they've turned it around, so I think we could do a savings here, but it is a grant, and we're not coming necessarily out of the taxpayers' pockets, and it is a trial period, so I would definitely support it to try it and see what we would come up with. So, that being said, is there anybody else got anything? Mrs. Goodrich.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just add that, you know, certainly from what I've heard, it sounds like it'll be a larger percentage of an educational component, flyers, mailings, whatever, to educate people who may not know how to properly recycle. And the piece that Mr. Carpenter mentioned is a small component of it. It didn't sound that it would be real intrusive. I mean, I don't think you're going to knock on someone's door. Maybe someone may get a piece of mail or something that says, you know, here's a little additional educational materials for recycling. So I will support it.
Okay. Is there anything else? Being none, you, Mr. Berthium.
I agree with Mr. Carpenter that, you know, the government is getting too much into people's business, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, that we do need to recycle and do things like that. But I guess my question is, and I'm in favor of going for the grant. Are we going to be presented the guidelines of what that position is going to do afterwards? Because I am, like Mr. Carpenter, a little bit afraid of people getting harassed, you know, with notices, people picking through their trash, that type of thing. So, you know, I think we should go for the grant because I believe that it's short money that potentially could save the town quite a bit of money. But I want to make sure that the education is the impetus of it, and that we don't, you know, get too hung up with telling people what they should be doing with their trash. It's one thing to educate them; it's another thing to dictate.
Okay, a comment?
I did just want to mention that the good thing is several towns and cities have done this before us, so we have some good feedback from them, and certainly nobody wants their trash barrel to be opened and people going through their trash, and we understand that. And we've had a lot of towns say, you know, you have to stay positive. You don't want to be harassing the residents, so we have all this to work with, you know, moving forward. But I do think Darlene would be kind of in charge of this person. You would be the supervisor, so you know, it would be a working relationship, and what our approach would certainly be positive, and we would keep it that way.
If I may,
yes.
I think it's really how it's a key position. I mean, every position is a key position, but I mean, when you go out and knock on somebody's door or ring their doorbell or any representation from the town, I think you have to go with an open mind, and it has to be presented in a good way. I mean, we're not, trust me when I tell you, we're not looking to go around with a ruler and you know, hit people. That's not what we're about for this position. We just feel like in order to get a little bit more awareness about recycling and what people are doing. I mean, there are people that just don't recycle at all just because, I'm just going to throw it in the trash. Over time, each person that does that adds up, and it becomes a bigger problem. Right now, we're in a good we're in a good stage in the fact that DEP is not on us saying you have to do this. They're trying to they're trying to bring people along by offering this grant and let people apply for it, and let's try to bring change about through education. But I think further down the line, there's only so much space that you can put for a landfill. There's only so much capacity that you can have for this amount of money when you bring it to Wheelabrator. At some point, you start getting charged for the amount of trash that you're putting out, and I think collectively as a town, this is a good chance for us to be able to make a positive change. I certainly respect, if people are nervous about that, I understand that, and I think it's really, because it's a new position, it's a change of anything, people are always like a little bit nervous with change. It's really how it's presented. Amy and I really have spent a lot of time on this and talking about it, and I think the towns that were successful, the best thing that I can remember is, they just, everything is positive. Look, you're doing a great job, but these things belong in this container, I mean, it's really making the opportunity to be able to have that conversation. I don't want people to be afraid of people that come from our office. We're not trying to intimidate people. We want to help you, give you the tools you need in order to make an informed decision.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we authorize the filing of the application for the Waste Reduction Enforcement Coordinator for a maximum award of $25,000 for a total of $31,850 maximum award.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion been made and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, it's a 4-to-1 vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in tonight. Okay. Now, we'll go back to our agenda. There are no presentations or public hearings tonight. Communications. I had them put these communications in your packets. The Office of the Board of Selectmen at Littleton. We, the members of the Board of Selectmen, wish to offer our most heartfelt sympathy to you over the tragic loss of Auburn Police Officer Ronald Tarantino, Jr., who was killed in the line of duty yesterday. And I can read all of these, but I want to be sure that they all say the same thing, that they are passing along their condolences and heartfelt sympathies to the town of Auburn, and also they're coming to the Board of Selectmen from the Board of Selectmen of Littleton, from the town of Spencer Board of Selectmen and the town administrator, from the town of Paxton, Board of Selectmen and the town administrator, and also from the Board of Selectmen from the town of Sterling. If you wish, I would read them all through, but they are saying they're sending their deepest condolences to the family, friends, and co-workers of Auburn Police Officer Ronald Tarantino, Jr., and I want to be sure that it's made aware that those were received as communications from those individual towns. Okay, 7A and 7B have been taken care of. Now we have a drain layers license, SPB Contracting of Worcester, and enclose the application you have in front of you. This is an application from a previous, only if licensed within the previous 5 years. They do not have to be here. So what we want to do here on this one is to have a motion to accept or reject this application. Yes, Mrs. Brotherton.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all of the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, under gift acceptances, from the Auburn Public Library, Jacqueline M. Falk Estate, for a check for $100 to the miscellaneous gift account.
Motion to accept with gratitude.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And from Edward R. Oberg, $25 to the fire department gift account. Let's see, we have, there's a bunch of them here, and we'll go through them. Edward R. Oberg, $25 to the fire department gift account. Oxford Education Association, $50 to the fire department gift account. Donald J. Hugasian Jr., $200 to the fire department gift account. Jennifer G. Haroyan, $125 to the fire department gift account. Paul Armando, $100 to the Auburn Fire Department gift account. Charles D. DeMazier to the fire department gift account of $10. Don Blanchard to the fire department gift account, $100. William Sipios, $50 for the fire department gift account. Lawrence G. Fitz, $100 to the fire department gift account. Galen Holloway, $25 to the fire department gift account. Ann Spillane, $25 to the fire department gift account. Richard Ringard, $100 to the fire department gift account. Mary Ellen Boyle, $20 to the fire department gift account. Carolyn R. Donahue, $50 to the fire department gift account. Scott Winchester, $250 to the fire department gift account. Milbury Family Dentistry, $100 to the fire department gift account. Marsh Kemp Insurance Agency, $25 to the fire department gift account. Christopher M. Aramo, $50 to the fire department gift account. Robert E. Murray, $50 to the fire department gift account. Boy Scout Troop 101, $100 to the fire department gift account. Sally D'Angelo, $50 to the fire department gift account. Gerard and Mary Lou DeLongchamp, $50 for the fire department gift account. Oxford Firefighters Association, $50 to the fire department gift account. And the last that I have here is Raymond J. Bigay, $50 to the fire department gift account.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept with gratitude, and just for anybody, someone was nice enough to total up that amount, and it was $1,845, what you just read. So we're, very fortunate that we live in a town where people are so generous with not only their time but their money. So I would make a motion that we accept them with gratitude.
Okay. Second. Okay, the motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay. We have no proclamations in front of us tonight. Discussion on the summer meeting schedule. Usually the summertime around here can be pretty quiet. There's not a lot of things going on. Our meetings are usually the second and the fourth Mondays of the month. We'd like to go with, my feeling would be to go with the first Monday or the second Monday of each month in July and August. And to be, if we have to have another meeting on top of that, then we can call that for the fourth Monday. But I'll leave that up to discussion.
Well, we can't have the first one in July because that's July 4th. So it can't be the first Monday in July.
No, I'm sorry, the second Monday in July. So the second.
The regular schedule.
The regular schedule, right. Thank you.
I have no problem with that as long as we adopt a winter schedule for November and December. And we had several meetings that lasted all of 20 minutes. That to me is a waste of staff time and is a waste of the public's time to have us come here for 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I think I'd like to be able to discuss that tonight, but that's not on the agenda, so we're going to discuss the agenda for the summer schedule only, and we can take that up at another time, but thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Jacobson, what is your suggestion?
I was just going to give you the dates. If you do go with the first meeting of the month, which is the second Monday of the month, then July would be July 11th, and August would be August 8th.
If I could make a suggestion, I know the land use boards, when we did it, we tried to pick the middle of the month. That way, you didn't have to necessarily worry about having it was in the middle of the month. So you'd have plenty of time for people to submit things. You could have one meeting.
Okay, well, I think they still have plenty of time to do that now with July 11th and August 8th. We've got, right now, we're on the 13th of June, so we have a month till our next meeting, or to that meeting in July 11th, and then another month to August 8th, so I think there's plenty of time there. So I'd like to stay with that second Monday schedule if we could for those 2 months, but again, it's up to the board what is a pleasure. Mrs. Goodrich.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have no problem at all. I appreciate the schedule of meeting on July 11th and August 8th, but I would ask that that if a license application comes in that needs our attention, and I certainly don't want to hold someone up, that we meet on that fourth Monday.
Absolutely, and we can call a meeting, but I think what our plan is just to have just a summer schedule, just one meeting a month for July and August. Mm-hmm. And then if we'd have to have something on that, the fourth Monday of either one of those months, then we would do that depending upon what comes through to the manager's office.
So I'll make that motion that we meet on July 11th and August 8th.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay. It's 4-1. Okay. Let's see. All right, so now what we have is town manager items, the update on the 2016 Summer Concert Series at Pappas Recreation Complex. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the chair, thank you. I just want to remind everybody that our Summer in the Park concert series is underway. It started last Thursday evening. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, we have concerts at the Dr. Arthur and Dr. Martha Pappas Recreation Complex on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. with a rain date of the following Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m., which 2 years ago we needed every following Tuesday because it happened to rain every Thursday. This year we're hoping we don't have that same luck. This year we're very excited. We have a 13-week schedule. So this has really grown every year, and we've been able to add an extra week. I want to comment that we do have Mastermans and Polar that are helping to offset the costs through their donations, and we use the Recreation Fund account as well through Pappas, where we're generating some revenues to go back into the community and provide this great opportunity for people. So they can bring their chairs, they can bring a blanket. It's for people of all ages. The schedule is available on our website. It's available, it looks like this if you see it around Town Hall. We also have magnets, so if anyone's interested, let me know. We have magnets for people's refrigerator, which is nice because it gives you the schedule in one small, 2x3. And it's also on our social media site. And when you look at it, we try to get a different blend of music. We have country and classic rock and Elvis Presley. We have a Shakespeare performance this summer. The Beatles. It's really a really nice evening out. And I just want to make sure I give credit to Ken Fairbanks because he puts a lot of work into this. He starts in December and January, lining up the different performers to make sure that we have them for a good schedule. So also want to thank DPW for all the work they do to get ready, and Chris Hugo for the work that he does on the sound. It really is a team effort. There's a lot of town departments that are involved in this, and we all love it. It's exciting. We're glad to be able to do this, and we're grateful to the business community that do help us. So thank you.
Okay. All right, under tabled items, this has been a recurring thing, a discussion on developing board policy for board code of ethics and conduct. Now, this is one I had presented back some time ago, and I felt that it was necessary because of, some of the conversations, some of the comments and whatnot has been made in the past, but also for new members to be coming forward to have some sort of a standard set of guidelines that we go by for setting up our meetings and conduct be held between members. It is not I'm not trying to squash the ability to anybody to speak. It's just more of a respect for members back and forth between us. And it is also, this is only for code of ethics for this board and not for the general public. And there's been, I've got several communities here in front of me that have had them drafted. And there are, so it's not something that I've come up with brand new, but I think it's something that with the board and sometimes the comments, sometimes the conversations, discussions, debates, sometimes can get out of line. And I think that if we have a code of ethics, we can have show a little bit of restraint and a little bit more good conduct between members. My discussion, my thought, and if we want to go forward, we want to discuss this tonight, great. If not, we can discuss it at a future meeting. Mr. Berthium.
Being that I'm new and totally in the dark towards something like this, I think it would probably be good to get a proposed one that we can, that might have bullet points that we can then take, look at, bring to another meeting with our comments, but, get the process started.
Okay.
So
I think the process that would be that if we were going to do that, to send that to the subcommittee, and that would be, you could make that in the form of a motion to have the subcommittee look at it and bring us back a proposal or some sort of a draft, suggestions of what we could use, and if the board wishes to continue with it, then we can continue with it from there. Mrs. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Berthium may not be aware that there's a two-member subcommittee who handles board of selectmen policies.
Okay, so we don't have to form a subcommittee?
No. Mrs. Brotherton and I are the Board of Selectmen Policy and Procedure Subcommittee, so we often review policies. We worked on all of our past policies and then bring recommendations to the full board. Some have passed and others we've just not adopted, but it's just to bring something to the board in the form of a policy.
So I would make a motion to present to, bring to the subcommittee to bring back a proposal of a code of conduct for the selectmen's meeting. Is that what we're looking for?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, so the motion been made and seconded. Sharon, have you got that motion? Okay. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, it's 4-1. Okay, let's see. We have no Board of Selectmen member items tonight. Are there any public comments? We have minutes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In front of us, in your packets tonight, we have minutes from March 28, 2016. And is there any questions, comments, errors, omissions? Being none, I'll accept them as presented, and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night.